we'll start the work session.
Okay, so ice cream truck is booked. That's handled. Jungle Terry cannot come. He's in PA the whole day.
Oh, too bad. Okay.
I know. So we have to find a knockoff again.
Outback Ray, or I still can't think of that lady's
I
name.
know.
Can you go back? We used another lady one year. Wasn't Jungle Terry, wasn't Outback Ray.
For animals?
Yes.
Yeah, it was a lady.
So can you go back and look in the records for Family Fun Day for expenses?
Yeah, she set up a table up underneath the trees up where we had a movie screen.
It was more smaller.
Yeah, she had
animal
more
bugs.
Yeah,
Okay.
rodents. She was more like rodents and
Okay.
snakes and bugs kind of
No,
stuff.
fine. We've got it, whoever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I ended up finding her after
Yeah.
Outback Ray, and Jungle Terry couldn't do it.
So good news is Jungle Terry is booked for 2022. Already in the books and on his book. But I think somewhere, I don't know. I swear that I talked to him, but
Outback Ray's good too.
yeah, I mean, you can work on that. I'll leave that. But I swear I talked to Jungle Terry, but you know, he's so busy and the guy does all his own books. Sometimes I don't know if he knows what one hand's doing, you know. But he said he's out in PA, has 2 shows out there. He said he just can't make it back at all. But I gave him the date, the
Okay.
4th Saturday for 2022, and he wrote that in there. So
Is there anybody else that you're dealing with directly?
I am not. Terry said he'll do the food as usual. So if you want to just reach out to him.
Okay.
I tried to give.
Cartwheel Connection?
I have not contacted them. I'll contact Cartwheel because I can just text her.
Who?
But
Cartwheel
Connection, the bus,
Okay, all right.
the tumbling bus.
Okay.
I tried to give one of our local guys from Vibe Entertainment. He's a DJ. I was gonna see if he wanted to do the event, but he has 2 weddings that day. So just tell Terry to book his guy again.
DJ?
Yeah.
What's the cancellation policy with all these people? I guess we should know that.
They all have a different policy. They all were understanding last year. Nobody
Okay.
Yeah.
did anything about last year because of COVID.
And then Rob. You said you were already talking to Rob.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I've signed a contract with
Yeah,
the
because I was
Executive
talking to him
Entertainment.
about one of the schools. and
Doctor, you are awesome. John got him for
Got
us.
that? Okay, good.
Do you want him to do, he offers a few different things, I don't know if you want him to do the bubble show again this year. He does
Yeah, I
some
think kids
kind of-
love. Kids
I
really.
think bubbles
dug-
were
does
Yeah, that
some
was
kind of
awesome.
slime
Yeah.
thing.
bubbles.
Parents will hate us. Just do
Bubbles. And
that. Did the rocket car? Did you do that or Terry had done that in the past? Do you want to just call the guy and do it
I'll
directly?
take care of it.
Yeah.
yeah,
I was, Terry handled it, but I always felt like it was like their delay because Terry had talked. You had to talk to Terry.
yeah, we should just
See if you
run
can
with
get
that.
both. I know that was a trouble last time because he had it booked for some other festival that day. He has like a rocket car and then a
Yeah, he was there.
Thunder or something.
No, he has 2. He has a rocket car and another vehicle, some
Similar.
other ride or something.
Similar to ride.
Some other type of
Yeah.
ride, but it's his son drives it, I think, but he had it at a different event. We were trying to get both. So
Oh, we want both vehicles?
if he can.
Okay.
But every year we try, he's got the other one booked.
I mean,
So-
or at least like rocket car, one of them all day, and then if
Yeah.
we wanted to do another one for a couple hours, if you could do that.
like noon to 2, that peak time,
Yeah.
Try to sneak it in for a shift.
Thriller, I think it's a thriller
Thriller
car.
car, that's it.
Okay. Yep.
What else?
I'm just looking at, for this part, I just need to know any vendors
That's all
you're
I'm
dealing
done.
with, so
I'll
go
text
get the
Cartwheel and
rest.
then everything else you can
Okay.
handle.
Okay.
And if I think anything else, I'll just text you.
Okay. Karen and Teresa are gonna handle the Chinese auction again. They're collecting stuff. History Center's all set. I do have a request from a young lady, she's, I think, 17-year-old, actually from her mother, but she's 17 years old, who does kind of like gymnastic display, she got a mat and she does twirls and displays and stuff. She charges $75 for 30 minutes, but they reached out to us, said, do we want to have them? I don't know much about them.
Do they have something they can show us?
They have, like, a
website
video?
or a YouTube or something so we can see what they're due?
There's one picture of her, if Harley can get to my reports in the trustees folder.
I would say if a picture's probably not worth. I mean,
Well, that's all
my
I got.
thought. I mean, okay. Are they local?
Yeah. I don't know how
Guessing-
local.
I'm guessing in this day and age, you would think somebody that younger
Would
would
have
have
a
some sort of video, Facebook or a YouTube type of thing that they could send us an idea of what they do.
Well, she sent a picture. Other than that, I can ask if they
Yeah,
have
ask
some.
them. Get some
Ask, and,
video.
I mean,
Okay.
I guess we could do something like that before, I could, I don't know,
Oh.
before before a bigger show.
You want to do the face, as many face painters we can get, because one is not enough.
We get one on our own, and I think it was Executive Entertainment brings the other one.
Okay.
And what I did with him is I repeated everything we did 2 years ago.
Okay, good.
We liked everything, so I just, bring it all back.
Yeah, and how do we find our own, we have our own face painter?
Katie, who's comes to our Christmas party in this, she reached out to me several years ago.
Okay.
And I said, well, we'll give you a try. And we've liked her, and we've needed
Okay.
to anyway. So she comes to the Christmas party in this.
Okay, so yeah, get her lined up for sure.
Yeah, she's good. No, she's fine.
You want to, I guess when you call her, book her for the Christmas party too.
Okay.
Get that out of the way. That's August 28th, right? 11 to 4? Is that what
11 to 4 or 11 to 3?
4, it's always been 4.
It's always 11 to 4.
Okay.
Okay. And it's 8:28, right? I'm sending that text right now, so,
Yeah, it's supposed to be the fourth Saturday of August.
yeah. Actually, yeah, 8:20. Okay, that's done. And I'll just tell her to email you when, if she's for contract and stuff, Mike. Or Karen. You or Karen?
Who?
Cartwheel Connection, you
Me.
or Karen?
Me, and then I'll work with
Okay.
Karen. Yeah.
You got the porta potties?
Yes,
Okay.
they're already ordered. I will, confirm with Jack that we'll get the tent from Sidley's.
Okay.
He handles that. So,
Are you gonna do the sand again?
the sand, yeah, and the
Okay.
tractor, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Mhm.
That was fun, kids like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else for Family Fun Day? Sheriff's Office is already committed to be there with
Okay.
whatever.
No, lights, because right now they weren't doing events, now they started it back up on
Oh,
it.
Would you mind checking? That'd be great, because that was, people really like
Yeah,
that.
that was.
Do we have hand sanitizer stands?
Well, we ordered them as part of our CARES Act funds, and they've never come because they're in permanent back order.
Okay.
They literally are in permanent back order. They can't, I had to follow up with them a month ago, and they can't tell us if
Okay.
or when.
It'd be nice, I mean, I don't know.
I would hope by then, if not, tell them that, at this point, we're allowed to use that money, it's already allocated, all that, so if we cancel that order and got them from a vendor that had them
Just switch vendors for the same.
for the same thing. would that
It'd
be
have to be the same amount of money, or less.
Right.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay, and maybe I'm wrong, but I'm guessing at this point in the game, probably things are probably come down from when,
The
at the
height
peak
of,
when they were
yeah.
charging,
Oh, cost-wise?
Yeah, you would hope.
You'd hope.
So it'd just be nice to have more of those available if,
Right.
If not, worst case scenario, like I've seen it, some stuff that they started to do, they just get a little table next to it and they get the big, the jug with
the
the
jug of
pump,
the pump.
Yeah. And we'll have that, we can have that at our, although, if we want to attract people for that. Okay, well, that we.
That-
we'll
that's
Yeah,
have
we
something
can
them
work
there.
it out
yeah,
later.
we'll
We
have
get
them
those
there.
because,
Yeah.
for like bouncy house or the, if we're doing, I don't know what he's bringing, the putt-putt again, we probably want to like have something for people to do that if, they want before they
Yeah.
use the stuff.
What about signage? Every year we talk about we need signs. Are there any signs we want
Well,
to prepare for?
You usually handle that, don't you?
Well,
we-
not the yard signs, but, is there something we want at Family Fun Day saying? look over
Directing
here?
towards
Oh.
didn't we get some last year, like rocket car?
We had, yes, we had that. What we talked about from my notes is we need, if Life Flight's gonna be there, we need some kind of better
Oh,
direction and what time they're going to be there.
okay, so we can handle that if be,
Well, we don't always know though, that's the problem.
And then
Right.
we talked about having a schedule sign with the times that Jungle Terry was gonna be there.
Right.
Or
that's right.
if they have
So
a
people can
magician.
see it, we'll get a board made.
That would be most helpful. That's the thing
Yeah.
we get asked about the most.
Can we rent like a a sign that's like a lighted sign, a message sign?
Yeah, it's easier to get one printed just so people can, static one versus something that changes, I think.
Okay. I'll work
So
on it.
once, we'll
Yeah,
let's
people are
start
gonna walk up.
scheduling them, then we'll have the schedule, and we can have signs and stuff, make us something cheap, or whatever.
Yeah, maybe we could just get a whiteboard. We could write in there.
That's true too, get a big white,
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
actually, I
wonder-
might have one in my office, that I don't
figure
use.
out a way to.
Yeah, it's like a big one too, like 4 by
Yeah.
6 or something.
There's one in our,
Is
Okay.
there?
All right.
there's one in our, other meeting room, big whiteboard.
Not
Anything, I mean, if you can think of
It's
any
gotta
other
be big enough.
signs or
That's not big enough, okay.
if we want to get anything else to make the line for the rocket car better, if we want to get some extra stakes and those flag rope thing, I mean,
Yeah,
gotta
use
do
those
social
green
distancing waiting in
stakes, and
line.
we can put some sort of
You know, they
get
can't
the
be on
flag,
top of
you know,
each
the
other,
flag,
theoretically.
the ticker, and make that at the line.
They have a lot of that there, and maybe some of our tall cones would, and, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if we need to get some, it seems like we scrounge through their stuff and we kind of make do. I don't know if it's worth maybe just,
Okay.
Call the utility thing and tell them that we want them to go out there and put flags out for all the utility stuff and just go out there. and blow those up. Mark
Anything,
'em.
anything else for Family Fun Day?
What about social distancing signs? I mean,
Well, who
I mean,
knows?
you put them out there just to remind people you covered that base.
By August of this year, people don't know to keep their does the sign really, anybody pay attention
I'm
to
not
that?
saying it's gonna do any difference, and there's gonna be people who are gonna bitch about it.
yeah.
So it's just, you cover that base, you take that
Whatever.
argument away.
By then, that shit might be gone anyways.
It might be.
So, I mean, that kind of stuff, I think you play closer to,
Been to a restaurant in the last few weeks?
I know. That's what I
Packed,
mean.
right?
Yeah, I mean,
Eh, whatever.
and they cut it down to 3 feet, and that's indoors, so who outside is,
All right, anything else on Family Fun Day?
What do you think of the farm park coming with some stuff?
they will, as long as Jungle Terry's not coming, they'll come.
That's what I.
Yeah.
But even if, what if Outback Ray comes, is it just,
I know from my years of partying in the park, whatever the reason, they got something with,
just Jungle Terry? Okay.
they never, they said if he's gonna be there, we won't be there at the same time. So,
That's interesting.
I don't know
I'll
what
find
that
out
is.
about Outback first, and then we can decide if we wanna contact the Metro Parks.
Okay.
We're doing the popcorn machine from that, whatever, the rental guy that we'll do, right, at the table.
Executive Entertainment brought a popcorn machine last time, and
Did we buy one or no? We never bought a
We were
popcorn
we
talking
machine?
bought
about it.
Okay.
Don't we have one for Christmas party? Can we get one?
Or did we talk about it and never?
We used theirs, didn't we?
We ordered one, and it wasn't the right size, and then we said, might be easier just to rent one.
Okay. But we definitely want to do that with
Yeah.
popcorn and bags for, our table. I'll get my daughter to pop the popcorn again. I think that was a huge hit that we just gave popcorn away. So,
Who usually does the parking?
There's a ham radio club that the History Center regularly uses, and I contacted them for the one in 2019. They did a fantastic job. So, and they were on board last year, just we canceled, so I will get them again.
okay. Moving on. Do we have time for CRA update?
Oh, yeah, because it's quick. I've continued to work on it since I wrote the report, so I've made some more progress on the commercial side. What I hope to do is at the next meeting on the 18th, have a complete package for you for residential CRAs. That the commercial won't be done yet. I'm still slogging through that, but that one is just so much more involved with steps and procedures. So, but I just wanted you to know I'm continuing to make progress, and I did develop the business application, so you'd get a sense of all the information the state requires, and it's in with your report, so you can see that. It's like about 4 pages long.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Curbside brush pickup.
We had 2 teams from Riverside apply, the wrestling team and the lacrosse team. And I believe the last one that did it, unless you want Bill to tell you, it was the lacrosse club. So it would be the wrestling team's turn if we're just going to rotate them.
It's only fair, right?
And Bill, I know you and I talked about something I'm not remembering.
It's better to have the wrestling team, if we're going to have them do it in June, because if we get into November and December for leaf pickup, they're into wrestling season, and there could be
Okay.
a conflict.
Okay, that's fine. And
Yeah.
Lacrosse is played in the spring, shouldn't be a conflict in the fall, and
Okay. That
Brush
sounds
pickup
good,
should
Ann.
be pretty light this year, right?
I hope so. Just add it.
I mean, that's,
Yeah, all the loose stuff came down, right?
You can bet that there was a few extras in those piles.
Oh, yeah.
so we still do
I
this,
saw
is
people
brush
trying
the
to-
same donation as leaf pickup? Do we do the same donation?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it makes sense, rotate them, and then lacrosse still gets their chance this year.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yep. Well, they did it last, so
Yeah.
they would understand.
Yeah.
Okay, Chuck wanted us to talk about joining the Lake County Visitors Bureau.
So what's the benefits? I mean, you read it, it was $250. I don't think it's a big deal, but,
I don't think it benefits
Was somebody
us.
asking? Or-
yeah, somebody asked about it.
I don't think it benefits us at all to be in it.
So I looked and I thought it said something about for businesses.
Yeah, it's more
What
for
was it?
businesses because you can advertise like your business services and based on the thing he sent us, I just don't see the value
Are,
for the township.
are other communities members?
I believe so.
Some are.
It's $250, guys. It's for the county. I don't see it as a big, oh God, Josh, for real?
For the county?
County?
For-
Now
it's-
you're trying to support the county?
All right, if you want to chintz on
Aren't they a
$250.
standalone? Aren't they a standalone entity?
I think they're, yeah, I think they're, they get money from.
They're funded from the
hotel
bed tax.
Yeah.
So categories for the memberships are attractions, restaurants and shopping, lodging, wineries, breweries, distilleries, farm and garden, nursery, outdoor, heritage, arts, and cultural events.
I mean, I know it's only $250, but I don't.
Okay,
No, I'm not against it per se. I just let's find out who else is in it. You know, if we're gonna be the lone wolves in this thing, then I don't see the.
well, if we're the lone wolves, then I agree, but my understanding is we're not, because there were other communities in it, and somebody brought it to my attention, they said, how come Painesville Township's not in there, all these other communities are in there, Concord's in there. And so I said, well, let me look into it, so it's $250 to get your name on the frickin' thing and make someone feel good about living in Painesville Township. It helps the county, it helps the tourism, that's what it's for, but if you don't wanna do $250,
No, I'm just saying.
then that's fine.
And Concord's got what 2 or 3 hotels. They're getting bed tax to pay for that.
Okay.
To attract people, but
If
again,
you want
see who's in it.
if you want to, can you get a list of other communities that are in it?
Yes, I will.
I'm not against it.
What
Like I said,
and I guess what
say
category would we join as?
$250, whatever one that one is.
Well, no, I mean, so it says
Yeah, but aren't
So-
they just price levels?
so remarkable is $250.
Right, that's what.
Remarkable memberships are limited to 2 members per category. Maximum
didn't know
of
what
10
that meant.
total. Yeah, 10
like
available.
2 members, like
So you can only have 2.
2 remarkable members, or 2 people in your business can be a member.
I was thinking like 2 in each category, like the restaurants and shopping. I don't know.
I'll get more information
Yeah,
and
do
come
that.
back to you.
One coming up.
Firearms.
Discharging firearms. The only update is I followed up with Jerry and Falvey, who said when he was here last week, they'd be looking into. Sheriff's office cannot find any way they can do anything legally, other than they're offering to maybe put on a little bit of a PR campaign with social media and whatever else they have access to try and discourage discharging firearms in a township. Said they have the same problem in Concord, that, people shoot guns, people complain.
So,
But what we were asked to look into is what can they do legally?
so in I think it was your report. Maybe you mentioned they found was it Ohio Supreme Court
There was
case?
an Ohio Supreme Court case where a township passed a resolution prohibiting gun discharges in the township, and somebody took them to court, and they took it all the way to the Supreme Court, and the township lost.
I mean, so can we get like a memo on that says here was the case here? I mean, that way we have something where if we have a resident that says,
We can point to that.
we have that, we have a memo ourselves that references, and so we have because I keep all
Our
these
problem
legal
is
memos.
that we put it in our zoning code, which shouldn't be in there.
Well, I think we need to get that out of there.
Yeah, I think you got it.
I think we got to pull that
You
out.
can't put something illegal in your zoning code.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We didn't do it, and I know we kind of just like,
I don't remember
but
who
I
did
think
it, but-
I think it, for whatever reason, we left it in there, and I don't really know why, but it serves no purpose, and then it only brings, hey, well, you have it there, why aren't you doing anything about it? So I think, just let's get it out of there, because it does nothing, and it can only
And
draw
I think it
attention to
should
something we
really be
can't do.
Deferred over to the sheriff's office, just like
Yeah.
if someone comes in and says, hey, I got somebody that's, stealing stuff out of my yard.
Well, we had a resident come to the meeting.
Yeah.
We
No,
have to
no,
be
you got-
prepared
oh,
for
Of
it.
course, but when I'm,
But it comes in
having this in our
zoning
code,
zoning code,
it muddies the water, because then it's like, well, what, you have it, why aren't you enforcing it? Well, it doesn't have teeth, well, then why do you have it, you know?
Yeah, people don't always understand this supremacy clause.
Right.
What trumps what, so, so Jason will get you guys a memo on that, so we have, we can do a memo and kind of have some talking points for when it inevitably comes up again.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
In this, but
Can we
in
look
this,
at removing this thing from our books too,
Is
because,
this a problem that we have it in there and we can't enforce it?
It's probably not a good idea, like Gabe said, you're gonna have people come here and say, you have this thing, why don't you enforce it? And they're not gonna understand when we tell them that the state law trumps that, it's,
because then it flips back, then why do you even have it,
Right.
right? So why draw attention?
and, somebody probably could sue us just based on having it, and
Then I say
obviously
we
we
get it,
would fight it more.
because that's the last thing we need. It's got no teeth and it's not gonna do us any good, why have it?
in this specific case, what the person was doing was dangerous in the community. I
get it,
realize.
yeah.
Okay, good. So we can't stop them from doing it, but remember the time we had that gentleman who lived up in the Bohol area, was riding his ATVs through neighborhoods and terrorizing the people? And then those people came and they complained to us. We requested the sheriff go speaks with them, and he had a
Sure.
nice conversation. I think at the very least, that's what we can do, or maybe at the very most,
I thought he already did that.
that's what we can do.
Sheriff's office has been there, I know that.
Yeah, the sheriff's been there multiple times.
And did they tell the guy, that's not safe, you're firing into the street, and you could potentially hit somebody? I mean, that's the conversation.
I believe that they did, but we definitely should, if they haven't, they need to.
Okay, so can we follow up on
And I
that,
think
Mike? Will you ask
I
him,
would think
please?
too, a letter from the township, hey, we 100% believe in your Second Amendment rights, and we would never want to impede that, but the actions you're doing with your firearms is creating safety issues for our township, and we would ask that when discharging your firearm, you do it under more safer circumstances, something to that effect.
Safe circumstances that don't fly into public right, that has
Right.
potential to fly into public road right-of-ways
Right.
or neighboring properties.
Yeah, I'm all for that, that only makes sense.
I'm good for that, too.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what
absolutely.
we can do, and,
Yeah.
we don't have the authority to stop the guy, but we do have the authority to
Ask
send him a
nicely
letter.
to be reasonable.
Yes.
Well, and again, yeah, ask the sheriff to send somebody, and maybe it's, I don't know, it's Jerry
I'd go if I was home with the
or
Sheriff's office.
if
That's
it's
what you're getting to.
No,
Sherwood.
Yeah, have
You
one
know,
of those, yeah.
not just a regular road patrol guy is my. I mean, if they can have somebody else go
I
talk
think
to
you
him,
want a guy, yeah, you want a guy like Izzo or Sherwood or something like
Yes.
that. That's
yeah, to go and
Izzo
speak
can
with
be
them.
intimidating. I think he'd be a good one. He's just got that
he's
look.
nice, but he's
He's
got
like
that look,
Carl.
right.
He could scare you if he wanted to.
right, right. And then, so we get a good to get this thing off of our books then.
Yeah, see what
Yes.
we
Harley,
need to
any
do
issues?
to.
Okay.
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 I don't know if it's a resolution. Do we have to resolution to remove the resolution?
It's a zoning text amendment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we'll have to do the zoning text amendment
Yeah,
change.
so
Okay.
she'll come to you.
I think you refer to the zoning department.
Right, but then but I didn't know if it was by resolution or in the zoning text. I couldn't remember which one it was. So. Okay.
Okay.
Applying for grants, I just wanted to bring to your attention that the way we're doing it isn't working, that's all. If we're scrambling for information to apply for a grant, we're not getting grants. So for certain projects, we should probably pay for a plan to be made so we can submit it. I just wanted to bring that to your attention, I'll keep doing what you want me to do. But
What are you
there's a-
doing that's not working? Explain
Yeah,
so I
what
understand
grant did you
better.
apply for? It didn't work.
I've been asked to apply for some grants that I wasn't able to apply for over the years. The last one was a month ago that went through Dave Joyce's office. The documentation that they want engineers' estimates for the project. They want drawings or pictures. In the case of the one through Dave Joyce's office, they wanted 2 letters from 2 other communities supporting us for it, which is kind of a common thing. I write letters for the utilities department applying for grants and that. But to try and assemble this stuff in a couple of weeks, and to not have the engineer's estimate, not have the drawings, I just don't have the information to present.
So what do you propose?
We should do what we did with the first version of Bohol, the park on Bohol, and get an environmental design group or whoever to design a plan with drawings, with specifications, measurements, and cost estimates So when we have an opportunity to apply for a grant here, we've got our information, oh, you need a couple letters, I'll go get those. Right now, I'm just trying to package things together in usually a short period of time.
For the landfill?
What?
The Dave Joyce
No,
thing
I'm
was a
talking about in
landfill.
general. No, I'm talking about in general, Gabe, just, you wanted me to apply for the CDBG grant.
No, I didn't. Her and I have been handling that. I asked you to do it last year, didn't get done, and her and I are doing it this year.
Okay,
So I didn't ask you to apply for that, her and I are handling it this year.
okay, then I don't have anything else for it. I gave you my report in writing, and, you know, I just wanted to bring to your attention that, you know, the way we're doing it hasn't worked, and, okay.
So what do you foresee in the future that would help you do your job better, that we could, I mean, I'm trying to as you're talking, I understand what you're explaining about the short time frame on the park and not having what you needed.
No, that was for Dave Joyce. That was for the landfill, wasn't it the Dave Joyce thing?
So trying to help him out though, and to understand I understand the problem, but what could we do on a preemptive stage that would help you gather that information more quickly? Is there something that we could have in place that would help you do the tools to do it?
I've said it and I've written it.
So there's no point in applying for grants then, is what I'm taking, you're telling me, because you don't have time to do it. I mean, that's the other alternative.
Chuck, that is not what I said.
Well, I know that's not what
at
you
all.
said, but when I asked you the question, what could we do? You said nothing. So I'm asking, then I just threw the flip side. So what can we do to help you do your job? So when it comes time to do those things, you can, I mean, what's the resource you would need that we're not providing? And if you can't answer that now, then I guess think on it, sleep on it, and then come back with that.
Or do we,
Because you presented a problem, and I'm sitting here trying to own that
I presented the
problem.
solution in a full-page report to you in my reports. I presented a solution.
Yeah, but I get that, but I
And
think
if you
what
don't
he's-
want to do it, it's okay.
I think what he's getting at is those, you want to plan, but what do you want to plan for? Like, for instance, the Dave Joyce thing was the landfill. So do you need a plan for the landfill? You know, what do you, I'm trying to get at we can't just do a plan for everything, I guess.
I understand it.
So specifically, I think what he's asking, and I guess what exactly, because you're referencing the Dave Joyce thing, which was the landfill.
Well, that was the most recent one. You asked, what did you
Right,
do,
so what
Mike?
I'm
That was the
getting
most
at-
recent one.
So I think what we need, you say plans, but I think what he's asking, and I think makes sense, is that a more precise, like, what do you want plans done for that you foresee us applying for grants? Is it the landfill? We hire somebody to get us a plan for that so we can apply for grants in the future? Like, that's what I think, maybe I understand what he's asking is that,
Or
and
is-
that makes sense.
Or is there a company, just throw a name out, one of these companies that you could use that's available to do that for you on a quick turnaround? I don't know. I'm just
Well,
trying to,
they're expensive. A quick turnaround isn't what I'm looking for, because that's when you run into the timeline. We've known for a couple of years, we've got 2 parks we're trying to develop.
okay?
I hope I'm not saying this disrespectfully. Gabe, we are now rushing to get that funded and built.
Mike, they told us, there's no rushing. I'm handling everything with that park. The CBDG grant, we couldn't even apply or know what we were applying for until the meeting on April 30th. And then we had 20 days, once we found out what we could apply for, how we'd apply for it. So having a plan in place wouldn't have done us any good, because half the things we wanted to apply for, we can't apply for anyway. So it's a moot point. We found out what it was. I got the engineer's estimate in 2 days. I mean, I handled that once we found out what we needed to get done. Having that, you can't just get engineer's estimates for everything, or you'll be spending tens of thousands of dollars on something that you don't even know if we're gonna be able to get funding for.
Okay, then I stand corrected. I just gave you the information, guys. I don't want to debate if, like,
No,
we are.
but-
This is where we
but
get off track.
do we need to know what grants are, which is hard to do, what grant or funding opportunities are coming? Maybe we can't do much to prepare, but if you find out about it when it becomes available, then it's really a mad scramble. OPWC, we know it's coming every year.
Right.
So
I think that's the bigger hurdle,
so
is
that-
knowing ahead of time what
Yeah.
you're gonna be looking at, then you can prepare. The problem is we find out these things on the last minute, and then we don't even know the grant we want, and then we don't have what we need because we didn't even know we wanted the grant. So if you know ahead of time, like he's saying, OPWC, we know we have that grant coming up, so we have time to prepare that. Other grants, Dave Joyce at landfill, we didn't know, it was a last minute scramble. We would have never thought to have some sort of engineer's plans for that, because we didn't even know the grant existed. So I think it's a matter of knowing what we want to apply for and then plan ahead for that particular one, because then you can be more precise on what you need planning for, which makes sense, but you need to know, I think it's too broad stroke to say we need a plan, because we can't just plan for everything. So I think we need to know what we were gonna plan for ahead of time, so we can prepare for next year. Like her and I are already talking about prepping for CBDG for next year, knowing now what we need to do for next year. So I think that's more of what we need to be out there being proactive, looking for the grants, not letting them fall in our lap. We need to be proactive, looking for grants that might be available for things we need, so we can plan ahead and do what you're saying more precisely.
So, like for Haddon Park, I mean, do we want to do something else there? Or, I mean, do we, because if we had some sort of, like the EDG plan for Haddon Park with, or even if we just sat down with something, 'cause we need a plan to know what we want to do so we know what grants we can look for. I don't know, that's, I guess, my thought, that Haddon Park's sitting over there and we don't know, there might be funding opportunities, but we don't really have a consensus of what we want to do over there.
Well, I feel like the only, that we're getting the pavilion built, which I got paid for, outside of that, as long as that playground is where it's at, I really don't feel like we need anything else over there until the time that they sell that lot. And then because the idea was the playground will stay in place
Yeah.
till the property gets sold and they say no more playground, because Riverside still owns that property. Once they do that, then we can say, okay, now we're gonna have to move our playground. We can then find out what we can devise a plan. Now we know we need to put a playground in. Let's have that designed, so then we can search for grants to apply for a playground. But at this point, outside of the playground, I think the only other thing, the pavilion, which is paid for, we got the sewer lines paid for. If we wanna put bathrooms in, would be the only thing is to, talk about putting bathrooms in,
So,
because
like,
sewer
where's-
line is being donated
Like,
if we
where's the
want.
pavilion, I guess, like, where's the pavilion going? And would it if we put it somewhere now, does it conflict with something else we want to do later? That sort of thing. It's like some sort of like master plan of, here's the grand vision of what we're trying to work towards, and that way, if we put pavilion here, it fits in and isn't gonna conflict with something else down the road. That's my, I
Yeah,
don't know.
the plan for the pavilion was because of electricity and sewer access was along that path. So you can sit when they have, for the big baseball field, is to have it over there, near the thing, the path, the sidewalk rather. So that when Paul Hack came to him and said that they would donate installing and all the materials to put sewers in if you eventually wanna put bathrooms in, but that has to be easy. You can't run, obviously, bathrooms 400 feet into the field. You gotta keep that close to the road as well. So the idea was to keep all that sort of close to that sidewalk and accessible to the road for the main field. And then we have that major field that's open between the baseball fields, but that's something that we needed to, when we initially talked, was Riverside's gonna leave the playground. We kinda said, we'll let it go until we know we're gonna have to get a new playground, and then we can plan ahead for that. That's kinda the thought over there.
What do you think, Chuck? Do we,
I think we beat it to death. I think he said what he wanted, and
okay.
you can't turn it around quickly. I'm reading this thing. So the one thing you have, though, Mike, links to our website describing the project. So if there's a project we want to do, we have to put it up on the website so they can come look at it, even though we don't have money to do it.
From that funding source. The different grantors have different requirements for what you have to provide to them. I think I can handle some quick things like that. We could figure that out. I could get a couple letters, but in a couple of week or a month time frame, I can't get everything together that sometimes they require.
So I know this project, when it first started, came out with the design that company did. I forget the woman's name.
DDG, Michelle.
Yeah, she was great. But they did a real nice job laying out that project, and it was rather beautiful, but it was also rather expensive, so we had to scrap that
Yeah.
and then take a much scaled-down thing, and so,
Yeah, I think it was like $500,000.
I mean, it was, well, whatever it was out of our budget. It was a beautiful park and a beautiful layout.
350 to 500.
I guess my thought is that if that's what we were doing, we had a plan that as things got built, we knew where they went. Now it's just, okay, let's put this here, okay, let's add this here, this goes over there, and then where is over there? Who's that up to?
Well, it's up to, doing it, I mean, the guys who are doing it at this point, because you don't have the plan laid out, and it's
Right.
too much money. We don't have the frickin' resources to do those sort of things.
Yeah,
So
this
we're-
isn't, we don't have Parks and Recreation Department, we have money coming in, revenue stream, so this
Or
is
an
a matter
engineer
of,
sitting there waiting, working for us.
yeah, this is a matter of where I went out and, scraped for 90 grand so I can at least get a park built, and we have a layout, which I've presented to everybody. Now, I'm not a professional 3D artist, but at least you know exactly where the playground's going, exactly where the pavilion's going, and the fence. I mean, those are the three items that we're going for. And then the last thing was, which we just found out about April 30th, was the only thing we can do is that small parking lot because of the regulations for CBDG. We went into that not knowing and what we could do until we had that meeting. We were literally working in the dark because we didn't know what we could do until we had that meeting with them.
Yeah, and to be fair, RIA didn't even know that
Right.
we couldn't apply for the grant funds for
Certain things.
accessible items unless the park was pre-existing.
So the questions we asked ahead of time to try to prepare, we couldn't even get answered. I mean, we just got a question answered a week after that meeting, and you would have to have it in by the 20th. It can't happen, and that was the source of the money. So we tried to prepare to get done early, and we couldn't even get the answers done for that. So we definitely tried to stay ahead of this one, but it just didn't work.
Appreciate the heads up,
Okay.
Michael.
Yeah, it was, I was just bringing it to your attention. I didn't
all
mean it to
good.
turn into a thing.
Just trying to see if there was something that we could do and give you another resource. That was the gist of the questioning to you, so.
That was it. No, I can't think of something in addition to what I suggested. Maybe I'll think of something as we go forward. But
Okay.
I don't have anything else in my pockets other than what I put in my report.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
I didn't give the reports my 100% as I have in the past this time, so,
That's understandable.
okay.
Okay.
All right.
The flock cameras, I signed the agreement this week with them. It's about a 4 to 6 week installation, delivery installation schedule. They'll get back to me when they can schedule. I thought you'd find it interesting that they're not putting the cameras on the service garage at the parking lot. They actually are putting the cameras on a telephone pole a little bit down the road to where Mantle splits off of Blaze Nemeth, or Fairport Nursery, I'm sorry, Fairport Nursery. They want the camera there so they can get pictures of people leaving.
They,
So it's
the
the
sheriff?
sheriff's office.
Okay, all right.
So it's not pointed at the bar, it's pointed the other way.
No, it's pointed towards the bar, but it's down the street.
Oh, okay.
We were thinking it would be hanging on the service
Right,
garage.
right.
It's actually gonna be down the street. They want to get pictures.
How's that powered? Is that solar or what?
It is now. We were required to pay the installation for electric line if they had it. When I talked to them, we figured out, well, but for the same price, we could have a solar
Panel, never worried
panel.
about it.
Yeah, so they're gonna use the solar panel. There's no additional cost and that will power it.
Are we doing the 1 year?
Yes.
Or- okay.
But it's automatically renewable, so I've got it in my calendar.
Okay.
We'll have to make sure we want it renewed next year, or we have to tell them. That's all, yeah. But it is a 1 year agreement.
And that's gonna be up to the sheriff, I think, to really help tell us how useful it was.
And I'll have it on our calendar to talk about before the year's up.
Hopefully a year from now, this will be a non-issue.
Yeah.
That's the goal here, but.
The Division of Liquor Control has to have their hearing at some point.
Right.
And we seem to have a lot of support from the sheriff's office to object and,
Well, I know they're back out in the field, so I would hope that they would start having,
well, they've been out in the field for that, but
no, I'm saying just in general, they're making their like
Yeah, they're
field
out trying
calls
to
to
catch-
average,
yeah,
yeah,
I know.
so they're out doing that stuff, so you would think that they would be able to have a hearing now.
in their initial email that they sent out at the end of last year, or in the fall, was all hearings are postponed until June. That was what they decided last winter. Now, maybe they'll,
Well, just hopefully, if that ends up closing, hopefully they don't just move to,
Take that out of the.
Hang on, City.
well, hopefully they don't go to what,
Well, they need a
the
liquor.
shop.
They
The
need a
shop.
liquor license.
that's up to
Oh.
you guys.
New-
I have a feeling the owners there would,
We should probably
Probably
take that out
not,
of the,
yeah, they're not gonna
the
welcome
police fund,
the activity.
those costs.
What?
Yeah, oh yeah, the camera cost? Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, because we have that and then their surveillance.
Yeah, that all comes out of there, so, okay.
And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Fire chief.
All right, a couple things. The training that we were supposed to have at Riverside in June is still gonna be, we're still gonna have the training. It's not gonna be at Riverside, so we're not gonna get all our guys through it. Probably a limited number, maybe,
The active shooting stuff?
yeah.
It's at Lamuth, right?
Yeah, they moved it to Lamuth. It was,
Okay.
up until 2 weeks ago, it was all planned for Riverside, and then, I don't know, something at Riverside changed, and they said, well, we can't have it here now, so.
And how come we can't have it, all of our guys get through it?
Simply because, well, I mean, we could, I don't know how many, the plan was to shift them all through on duty, each station, each day, just rotate them through. But they're gonna be in Concord, and we'll see if it's I'll get as many as feasible.
Okay.
But it probably won't get everyone through it, yeah.
Okay.
So, because right here in Riverside, we could just have Station 2 guys there, switch them around and keep the stations all occupied and have station run from there. And
Oh, I gotcha.
out of the community that far out where Lamouth is, we'll have
Okay.
guys there, but,
I just wanted to ask the question.
oh, that's
So
all,
you're,
yeah. I
you're,
just-
yeah, it's up to you.
Okay, yeah, I don't wanna
Okay.
take them out of service to go that far for that long, so. Cause each drill lasts like 4 hours, so.
Is the extra time it would cost worth the investment to make?
Yeah,
How much more could it possibly cost in the big picture of things?
You mean like overtime?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
What you
it's-
had to do, if you had to cover something that way.
You're just not gonna know if you have to cover.
It's, yeah, I'll open it up and see how many people we get to volunteer. Well, on duty, I know they're gonna go, because it's, it's mandatory that way. As far as making an overtime drill, I'll open it up and see how many, that's the way I was gonna do it anyways. I don't know how many will sign up to go, so. I'm thinking we'll probably get a dozen guys, but not the whole department,
Okay.
yeah. All right,
That's not something you can make mandatory?
no, I mean.
Without prior exceptions already made for vacations and things?
No, I don't think it's something I want to make mandatory, because, I mean, we do it annually, so, guys that have been
So you
through
can
it.
get them
Oh,
through
okay.
next year then?
Yeah, I'll get them through next year, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. All right, canine costs, you asked for those, I sent them out just today, but.
Thank you.
Really, last year was almost nothing because of COVID, because with COVID, there wasn't any call-outs. There was a few local stuff, but he didn't go other places, and he didn't, the public appearances that he occasionally does, he didn't do any of those. So the cost for the canine last year was only $2,000 roughly for the year, for him and the dog. But that was, like I say, unusually low. So the year before I looked at, it was 8,000 something. So I said, well, let me see the third year. So I went back 3 years. Year before that was 5,000 something. So it's about a $5,000
A year, okay.
a year. And our budget for that is $4,000, and the rest of it comes, his part comes out of our overtime budget. So whatever he has to do on overtime, and he does a lot of volunteer stuff with the dog too. I'll have to admit, like some of the public appearances and stuff like that. I don't even know what's going on. He'll just go take the dog and show it to kids' places and things like that. So he does a lot of that without, just his own, so.
And I wasn't questioning,
Yeah.
whether we should continue that or not. I was just trying to get a
Okay.
feel for what that was.
Right.
That
Well,
asset that we provide.
Yeah, that's a good question. I know I just recently we've had a guy on the bomb squad too, with John Church he was a part-time guy that worked for us, was on the bomb squad. He just recently left like a year ago, and maybe less than that even. And so we don't have anybody on the bomb squad. I had a guy approach me and say, hey, can I take John's spot on the bomb squad? Well, I looked at what that costs too, and they don't do the monthly training for the medics. All he would do is just go out on call-outs, because it's a little different with the bomb squad. They're not embedded on the bomb squad. Like the SWAT guys dress like SWAT guys, and they go in with the guys if someone gets shot and things like that. Where the bomb squad medics basically stand on this. They go to the scene, they stand on the sideline. People go play with the bombs. If they get blown up, they go look at them, and that's, you know.
Yeah.
So they don't do the same tactical stuff. So we could, is it safe to assume that I could put somebody on the bomb squad, I guess is my question, because we've done that in the past too. And like I said, I think 1 or 2 call-outs a year, it's really nothing, so, okay.
I think so.
Okay.
Anybody have a, yeah.
All right, so
Yeah.
that's not a problem, okay. Then the SWAT team, the same question for the cameras, can that safety forces levy pay for that? I'm gonna throw it out there. You can say no, or you're not sure, but I just thought,
Can we use the policing levy to pay to put
for the SWAT guy.
a guy in the SWAT team? Although if we're gonna I don't know that we want to do the SWAT.
Okay,
I-
again,
That's what I was thinking, we just put one of our sheriffs on it.
there is, yeah.
No, I'm just saying, not one of
Yeah.
our road patrol, our extra guy, if we get an extra guy, tell me we want him on the,
You just train him as a medic, yeah,
Right.
there we go. Okay,
so
again,
Chris-
I just heard
I think
that, I
we
thought
wait
I'd
and see
throw
if-
that out there, I'm sorry if I,
Yes.
you know. if
we
that's-
had a discussion earlier this evening.
Okay.
On sheriff
yeah.
contract.
Okay,
But no, I mean, if we're supplying the K-9 as a county resource.
we are,
And if we put somebody in the bomb squad as a county resource,
Right.
I mean, my opinion is, I think we're fulfilling our duty
that's fine.
to assist countywide agencies.
I'm good with that,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna beat it to death, so I've been asking, I'm presenting it, but I'm
Yep.
good with that, okay. Let's see, the entrance exam, we're done, we finished up yesterday, I've got the final results were posted, this morning, and, the number one guy is Adam Friedel. I don't know, he works full-time in Menor, so I don't know if he'll actually even take a job when they're offered. Right now, we don't have a job to offer him anyways, this is just a hiring list, but,
Is he full-time in Menor?
yeah,
Makes more money in Manor.
yeah.
Why would he want to do an interview
People
here?
love it here, we have a good department.
Remember that contract time.
I believe that.
You guys love it here.
guys love it here.
You guys
Yeah.
should pay us to work.
Yeah.
So, other than that, just to kind of update, we had 2 fires this week that were significant. One on Meadows, where, that was just yesterday, where a family was displaced. 6 adults, 1 child. Yeah, which, same thing the Red Cross said, how many adults, is that right?
allowed?
But it was actually, it was 4 generations living there. It was,
Oh, related.
Was it in a?
yeah, it was
it,
4 the great-grandmother,
Wow.
grandmother, mother, and their daughter, yeah. so-
Was it?
Yeah, and the husband, so
Was
it
it a
was.
duplex or on the outer ring?
A
It was
duplex,
a
yeah,
duplex
so,
on
but
the
only
end.
one of them is unlivable, the other one, it was contained to 1 unit, and kid playing with a lighter, unfortunately, so, we got him in our juvenile, which Gordon teaches that too, but we have him in our juvenile fire setter program, so we'll get him going on that.
What time? Approximate? What time was that?
It was at lunchtime, right at noon.
Oh.
So, I was supposed to meet these guys for lunch, and that didn't happen, so,
Okay.
Chuck bought us lunch.
yeah, I was on my way.
Oh, I could have filled in.
What's that?
I never got a truck lunch yet.
I know, right? I didn't either, but that was my own fault.
Just so you know, I wanted to do it again so you could participate.
No, I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. So the other one, and then the other fire was not a really high dollar loss, but it took us a while and it was really messy, was we had a large dump fire, which we get occasionally. And,
Like a landfill dump?
landfill, yeah, and occasionally the landfill would catch on fire, and I know we got tons of calls on it because you could see, you know, the header probably from Euclid, but, so I'm surprised you guys never
Missed
heard
that one,
about it,
too.
but
How
they,
does that catch on fire?
when they bring something in the truck, you know, that decomposes, like maybe somebody had oil or rags, things like that, anything that, you know, you can get spontaneous combustion, things like that, so. And if it's on a pile of other combustibles, then it gets going. And if it gets down to the liner, there's a plastic liner under the whole thing, and if it gets buried enough and gets that liner on fire, then it all just takes off at one time, and it's quite a mess.
What did that new fire truck from Station 2 get over there? That,
It was there,
Good.
they didn't use it, I mean,
Okay.
Station 1, or Station 3 was there with their engine, so first, so that's what all the lines came off of that, and, they only had to fight it for a little while, they only have to contain it to the dump, they just don't want it getting outside and going other places, and the dump people have to bury it, basically, so takes a while to assemble their crews to come in and run all the heavy equipment, and just, you know, the only thing we do is just make sure it doesn't go anywhere else. So that was it. Yeah. Okay, that's
All
all I
right.
have. All right, thanks.
any questions for Chief? No? All right. Bill?
Okay, we had a meeting 2 weeks ago on a Tuesday, and the last thing I said was, don't be worried, if it snows, we'll be ready. And you all laughed. It snowed, we were ready. We put the trucks together Tuesday during the day, and early Wednesday morning. We used them, and by noon, we were done with the snow part of it and started into the cleanup. We had to remove limbs from the roadway on 26 roads. 26 different roads actually had limbs in the road. And then we started the process of going house to house to help people with the cleanup, and we went to over 100 homes over about 8 days. We got 30 dump truck loads of wood chips from that. So you ask if there's gonna be a lot of brush out on brush pickup. I don't know how there could be, but they will find a way. So, and when we, and this was the same as when we do our leaves and the brush pickup, we helped people on county roads also that needed help, so.
Mr. Chairman, if I could to jump in on Bill's
Yes.
report here, I will tell you the response from the community was really positive. We got a lot of reports, could you help us, but I got a lot of thank yous, more than anything else I can remember, from residents, emails and phone calls.
And I'll add too, I know Bill coordinated with another community to get another chipper. Was it you or John? Somebody?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
We need,
Yeah, so we were able to, Bill was on top of it enough to reach out to another community before others did, and was able to get another chipper so that we could have two crews out clearing debris.
Yeah.
So
so yeah, we.
Thank you for that,
There
you know,
weren't
on
any
top of that.
available to be rented, so Madison Township helped us out, and that was nice.
yeah.
The road projects that are in process now, Heatherstone is getting pretty close to being complete. They opened Heatherstone up today to traffic in both directions. They've got both sides of that road done. They're going to pour the rest of Fanwood tomorrow and start on Dartmouth. I would say within 2 weeks, they'll be done, and they'll be heading over to Bridle Path. I have been down there at some point every day that they've been down there. Very impressed with this A&J contractors. They've done a good job handling traffic, which has kind of been a nightmare down there with a lot of detours and one-ways. And they have a process of, during the digging out of the road and the base preparation, they cut back into the yard and they cut a straight line all the way down the road, so that when it's time for yard cleanup, they're not going 6 and 7 and 8 feet up into people's yards with topsoil and straw and grass seed. There's going to be a 2-foot area right up next to the curb, and I think in the long run, people are going to really appreciate that, because what they remember more than the inconvenience is, what does it look like when you left? And I'm happy with this company. It's the first time we've used them, so I hope we get them again. The OPWC project that, the next round, the applications are due at the end of this month. We are going to resubmit our project for Bannerstone that did not get approved last year. As a resubmittal, it will get a bonus point. One more point wouldn't have helped us last year, but maybe it's a good project, and hopefully it will be considered this year. And we're also going to add a second application for Dorothea, Hawk Ridge, and Copperfield. Those roads were put in 1974, 75. Hawk Ridge and Dorothea have never had any significant work done to them, so I think that's also going to be a good project. OPWC does not like to see communities submit 2 projects hoping that one of them gets denied and then gets that extra point the following year. We will be prepared, if we are awarded both projects, we are prepared to follow through with them. We have the funding for that, so hopefully that will be considered also. If they both get approved, we have the funding to move forward with both of them.
Well, we lost last round because we have additional sources of funding, correct?
That isn't the main reason we lost. We just got dinged on points a little bit. It's all on a point system, and we didn't get as many points as a community that doesn't have a alternate source of funding.
How many points did it ding us, and how much did we miss it by, do you know?
Well, we missed it by 4 points,
I think we
3
lost.
points?
I think we lost 2 points. Right? Was it instead of 5, we got 3 points for that funding one, so we lost 2 points, and we might have lost it by
What's the
3.
alternate source of funding?
Our road levy.
The road levy we just
Well, then
passed?
how the hell are you supposed to pay for the 50% match?
Income tax. That's the
That's not
thing.
an additional source of revenue?
I mentioned that.
I mean, are you kidding me?
So that's something that needs
That's
to go to,
ridiculous.
They talked about it, the cities went in there and they used a little, oomph to change the rules.
Well, it's something that Lake County was scoring different than like Geauga County, and Lake County, they say they were doing it wrong for all these years. This was the right way to do it. I don't know.
well, if we lose again, I don't know what the benefit of having an additional levy is. You repeal that levy, and then you
Just
start
tell-
getting the
How do they even know we have that?
They check with the audit. Well, they're supposed to check with the auditor's office.
We don't, we have just a levy for our road department, we don't have a specialized levy for that.
We do now, don't we?
Nope,
It's a road and
that's
bridge
why I didn't
levy.
wanna do that.
2018, didn't we pass a road
Nope.
levy?
We have we've got a road levy our whole lives, but we didn't have a road, we don't have a separate road levy for road improvements.
So the levy we passed in 18, what was that, how was that classified?
We're like all the rest of them.
Road and
So this is a good discussion, and maybe, I don't know, Mike, can you put together a letter that kind of says, you know, we
Most
understand.
of the funding for our OPWC projects has come from gas tax, license plate tax, and the permissive tax.
So I'm thinking,
Yeah.
if you can put together a letter that says,
It's probably, maybe you didn't fill out
we don't, no, it's not something that we fill out, because we probably checked, if there was a question, do you have additional sources of revenue, we would have checked no. But what they did is they checked with the auditor's office to see who had a road levy.
every township's got a road levy.
Well, they
Yes.
used it
Yes.
against us.
They
That's
use
the
it
point.
against the township to
Well,
give cities money.
and just a handful of cities do. So,
Painesville City does, do they get theirs?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah,
They
no
ju-
road levy.
They got a huge one they put on a couple years
yeah,
ago.
they have a road levy,
No,
The
they
county-
got their
some-
project funded. is
they got the
what
project
Gabe-
funded,
yes.
they got the full points. This,
That's what I'm getting at. Well, why didn't they get minus points?
they, the
Because
the
Josh
county
filled
screwed
out
up.
their application.
The county screwed up and did not get
And-
all of the communities that had road levies. It would not have changed the scoring. I've looked into it and I've sent the county an email.
And we pretty
Every
much
township
have
has
proof
to
that
have
we're
a
not
road
using
levy.
that money.
Every township does, yes. So all the townships are getting hosed, is what's
Makes
happening.
no sense.
But if it's worth a shot if the fiscal officer provides a letter that says, while we do have a levy on the books for roads, for the road department, it is to fund our operations, snow removal, this, that, and the other thing. The only money, or we don't use that money
For OPWC.
for OPWC projects. We use gas tax and license plate tax that all communities collect. I think a letter,
That's fine.
you know, so, yeah, I think,
But we do use that levy to fix roads.
But that's
Not for the
100%,
LPWC.
that's 100% township funded. We're not
Yeah,
using,
I
we're not
don't- I
applying
don't
for
know
a
that that
grant.
would fly.
I get that, but,
Should fly.
but if the point they're making is that you have additional sources of funding to fix your roads, that is a true statement. We are using it for
So,
roads.
so
Okay.
do the city, the city's got, they have income tax to do their roads.
I know, but ours is
Yeah,
specifically
no,
dedicated.
yeah, that's a
I
loophole.
mean, I'm not saying it's right, and I
Yeah.
agree with what you're saying. We
have to have
talked
it
about this
dedicated. We're
prior,
not
so.
allowed- that's the only way we're allowed to do it. We don't have a choice.
it puts townships at a disadvantage, yes. I mean, I don't know if it's worth you writing a letter that says, I mean, it's worth a shot. I don't know.
That was something that was nice to always be able to count on. We would miss like one every 10 years, maybe. And if they've changed the scoring, we're 2-3 points behind everybody else, then we
Repeal
gotta
that
figure
levy.
something else out.
But it's every, that's what funds,
Well,
I hear you. I hear you.
No, I'd say everyone else would be, then no township should have gotten a road levy.
I don't think any townships got projects last year. I don't think any township got an OPWC project.
We should be bitching at OBWC or at, call our state rep, tell them to go over there and whatever it is.
That
they're
was, the
doing.
discussion we had is, so we're getting penalized because
For-
because our residents are paying more taxes to help fix the roads, so now we're getting penalized for it.
No, our taxes are, we just happen to have a separate, we're required to have a separate road levy. We can pay for it, we can pay for it out of the general fund if we want, without it being separated. If they did that, I would tell the people, hell, we're gonna get rid of our road levy, we're gonna fund it out of our general fund, and that's it. We won't even have a separate road levy.
All right.
It doesn't make any sense.
That's ridiculous.
That from a point system, losing points for that makes no sense. None.
Well, especially when you got cities collecting impact tax. What's the difference? We don't collect, that's an additional stream of
We're
revenue.
required to do this. No township would ever get a friggin', and our residents are paying into that fund just like everybody else is.
Mm-hmm.
We all are. We shouldn't be penalized because of
Who
that.
does this?
State of, it's,
Yeah,
Who
how,
grades these?
it's that issue 2 or whatever, or
Issue
one.
2 from the state of Ohio.
the,
So
know,
does
who
the
grades them?
legislature have
The
anything to
District
do with
7
that?
committee.
yeah, a
And who
committee
is that?
made up of employees from the county engineer's office from Lake, at least for us, Lake, Geauga, Portage?
Portage or Trumbull? one of-
Trumbull,
yeah.
Trumbull, that's what it's, Trumbull, maybe not Ashtabula.
No, I
No,
don't
so
think
it's Trumbull,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm
Well,
just
shit,
curious
half
how
the-
they can
half
see
the friggin',
penalizing us for a road levy, but not penalizing a city for income tax.
Hell,
I asked that question
Geauga, half
at,
of Geauga, 3/4 of Geauga is a township, 3/4 of Portage is
so
a
what they
township.
do is, they do figure out how much money each county collects. So, and they try to give grants to put all that money back into that particular county. So if Lake County collects $1 million, they try to put $1 million of projects back into Lake County. If Geauga collects $500,000, they try to put that back. So we're not going head to head against all these counties, but it's just communities within the county. The scoring system is the scoring system from Ohio Public Works.
Okay.
So it's not like the committee has a say in how it's scored.
So who oversees them? Does the state legislature have any say? Does the governor have any say?
Oh, yeah.
So then why don't we use our
resources?
resources?
It's a levy.
Let's see what happens here.
I don't wanna wait, that's a lot of friggin' money.
It is, well,
Yeah, so do
300,000.
your part and let's see what happens here. And then, but then if that doesn't work, then we've gotta look, we gotta go above there and see what's going
I think we
on.
need to challenge the scoring now, before it even gets to that,
Well,
or
how we-
clarification on the scoring.
You asked about that, and Tracy said that she did bring it up, and their decision was made that they're not going to
They're
change
not gonna
the
change
scoring.
anything this year.
Who made that decision?
I don't know
I
who
don't know if,
Tracy
I don't know if it
asked.
was the district or,
We need to find
What?
that out. Because it just put us at a completely total disadvantage. Total. That is bullshit. I mean, we count on that money to do our roads.
Agreed.
We better start fighting it now before this thing even goes to,
applications are due at the end of the month. I don't know that there's any fighting this round. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, they've set the scoring, and it's, unchanged from last year.
we're gonna cheat then. Whole line. Mike was screaming. You know what we can do? Well, let's do projects with other communities. That gets us extra points. So let's do projects with another community, because that's gonna give us that right.
It
Maybe
does,
extra
but
points.
we have very few. It's a joint projects when the road kind of runs between communities, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
we don't really have
That's-
a whole lot of those.
No.
So,
What about, all right, let's see what else you can,
I mean,
do, and I'd be happy to look at it.
we can get an extra point by dropping our request from 300,000 to 200,000. I mean, that's not I hate doing that. I mean, because
Yeah, not for a point. Well, let's see how it plays out this year.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
If they keep the scoring the same, we're gonna end up with the same thing.
Yes, that needs to change.
Well,
It's ridiculous.
it all depends. Well, call somebody. I don't know who. I mean, we can say it needs to change, but how's it going to change?
Well, that's it. I mean,
By-
this is
By bitching at, by complaining.
this is your rodeo in our behalf. You need to bitch at them and say, how are we getting penalized for a road levy when the cities don't get, they're both, how are they different? So that's the question.
So, Tracy at the county engineers meeting, Tracy said it's the Ohio Revised Code. She said something's in there. I mean,
Okay, so the Ohio Revised Code is written by the Ohio Legislature, signed by the governor. So we need to reach out to those resources as a township formally. We got shafted last year.
Well,
If the
And-
scoring
Right.
Hasn't
We should
changed, we're gonna
reach
get
out to the
shafted this
Township
year.
First, I think,
Association.
Chuck, I think first what we need to do is look at that and make sure that they're applying the Ohio Revised Code correctly. Does the Ohio Revised Code differentiate between revenue streams? A levy is bad, income tax is okay. If that is, then yeah, you're right, that's where we go. If not,
Right.
then the committee needs to understand the Ohio Revised Code being applied incorrectly.
Did you guys get the email from Tracy last month with the application? I will forward it, because there's information in there, so I'll forward that to everybody. So, I mean,
Make sure it comes to me. And the
Yep.
other thing we should do, if that's the case, then we should, as a township association, so as our, first of all, our Ohio Township Association.
That's what I'm saying, there's
should be-
1,100 townships
Right.
in the state of Ohio,
We have, there's more townships than there are cities.
yeah, right, exactly. And we're all getting the shaft.
they said there's some communities, a lot of southern townships don't have road levies. So they're not in the same position we are.
Because they don't have roads.
Well, they're like Leroy. Does
If
Leroy
I-
have a levy?
If we,
Yeah.
Do they?
Yeah, it's not much, but
Why, no.
you'd have to, if you got anybody plowing your roads,
Well,
you have to have a road
the
levy.
main roads are.
I guess you don't have to have a road levy, we can just turn it into, we can just cancel it and just, increase our general levy.
Well, so there is a
The road department under the general.
several-page PDF attached to this email that I'm forwarding, so.
Now, if it's a situation where, because we're in Lake County, we're only got 3 townships and 25 cities, then we're gonna have, that's gonna be a huge disparity for us.
There is a handful of cities that do have road levies.
Yeah, well, once you get.
Oh, I can, oh, you got it, or I can.
Do we have the scoring from last year, that we could look at to see who got what?
Yeah, I have a copy of that.
Cause I mean, it sounds like we missed it by several points. I don't know how we're never gonna make that difference up if they change the rules. We're never gonna get any money from them. Unless for whatever reason, one of no cities decide that they wanna do something, which I doubt they're gonna do.
Okay. Anything else?
Every hometown hero banner that we currently have has been hung. As we get the new ones in, they will be hung.
missed that.
Anyone that we receive prior to Memorial Day will be hung by Memorial Day.
Somehow I missed them. They're up.
I saw 'em.
Did I-
You didn't see it? No, really?
No.
I saw Beth Knez right up over here on the corner.
That's awesome.
That is,
Where are you located at? Are you on one of those? Where are you located?
You haven't seen it yet?
I do, I've seen.
Did you
that.
move? Are you
I
over
can't
on?
remember. Is it
Ba-
right over
same
here?
spot.
Move.
Or is it? Isn't it right over here?
Yeah, I'm in Wickliffe, yeah.
Aren't you right like by Hillviews or something?
No, I'm down by, the.
All right,
fairgrounds.
zoning.
Okay, about your-
Wow, we've gone all over the place.
Okay, so first I just wanted to talk about that building delay because you guys are getting a lot of phone calls about it. The delay is not at the township level. It's a delay for Phase 3A. The Mylar sitting in the back is for Phase 3B for Fairway Pines. Initially, the delay was being caused by the prosecutor not signing off. And now there is another delay at county level. The engineer, now this is the most recent update I have from Dave. This may have changed. But the engineer's not signing off. The developer did not want to post full surety because they had completed everything, I believe, except for the paving. And they wanted to post surety for just that portion of the project, and the engineer's refusing. They'll have to post full surety and then ask the commissioners to release the funds for the work that has already been done thus far. And then, once all of that's done, once the engineer signs off, it should be going before the commissioners to get the signature for Phase 3A, and then they can start building.
I think Gabe, you mentioned that the home builder or developers now telling the people they're trying to buy and build the right story. They're not blaming us
Yeah, they
anymore.
were first blaming us, then I set that story straight, and then they contacted me again, and then said that they were blaming it on the county. So I contacted Radaschi again, and he said that it's because the builder didn't
All
finish
that,
their improvements of the surety, so.
Okay.
Sounds like at least they're telling.
So
The
now,
truth,
she
yeah.
said now that
Buyers.
they're getting the right story from the builder, after they're done blaming everybody else and getting called out for it, that.
Yeah, for their delays, for
Yeah.
wanting to, what? The Mylar for Fairway Pines Phase 3B is in the back room for signature.
How many phases are gonna be, do you know?
I honestly don't. I don't know. And they changed the numbering system. Phase 3B was supposed to be Phase 4, and then by the time I got the Mylar, it turned into 3B. So I don't know what numbering system the developer's using. I know what it's supposed to look like at the end. I just don't know how they're breaking it down into phases.
Okay.
And then I also have on here the zoning amendment, the text amendment case 21ZC01. That's not until, the public hearing isn't until next meeting, but I figured if you guys have any questions or wanted to discuss it now, just in case there's a full agenda next meeting, I'd fit it in, but it looks like
A full agenda this meeting.
yeah, we had a full agenda this meeting, which wasn't expected. And I think that's it.
I mean, so, do we have to sign that today? Because, I mean, the fact that they were basically lying to people and blaming us for a delay on a different part of that project, and now they're, I don't know. Sorry, that's not a question. Okay. Any questions for zoning?
How much more we gotta go? Is that it?
I think that's it.
So you said you have a public hearing coming up for text amendments, did I catch that right?
Yeah.
At the next trustee meeting is
So-
when we will have a public hearing for.
So you wanna give us a quick brief on what they are?
So 21ZC01, that is the text amendment that you guys should be expecting. It was the remainder of the amendments proposed for the changing in the location of 6-foot fencing on corner lots. There was the line of sight safety triangle language that the trustees kicked back to the zoning commission to edit. So those edits are in there. It is a 20-foot triangle, defined two different ways, one at the intersection of roadways and then one at the intersection of a driveway and a roadway. So then that way, corner lots that do not have a driveway directly behind them, the line of sight safety triangle won't be applicable to them. They'll just have to meet the minimum setback from the roadway
Okay.
in those instances. We also have we now have
You think it'll address
standards.
the concerns that we shared?
Yes, yes. We also have a proposed amendment for entry gates. This came about from our fire chief. They're having issues getting in and out of Villa Grande due to the gate's proximity to the road and the turn. So now we have a setback requirement from the roadway as well as a minimum vehicle or an entryway.
But it's not gonna
width.
help anything on Villa Grande, because they're grandfathered in? Okay, good, good.
And that is, before I say it. Yeah, and that's it. It's the line of sight safety triangle and the vehicular entry gate.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Chuck, as I'm looking, or,
Josh. Gabe.
Josh, as I'm looking at this.
He always gets mistaken for that guy 20 years older than him. It's okay.
I have been mistaken.
I mean, literally,
For-
Mentor's like the only one that doesn't really.
Right. But, I mean, ours looks like 465, which looks like it's really high, but it's only that high because we did a renewal instead of a replacement, so that millage looks high, but it's actually, that 465 only generates a net effect of dollar amount of a lot less.
My understanding, if it's 1 or 20, you're losing the points.
Okay,
It doesn't,
1
it does, yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter.
Where's, this doesn't have any kind of point ranking system.
Really,
Oh, that is just a list of-
Mentor,
Where's the
Perry
point
Village,
ranking?
and
Did you
North
send that to
Perry.
us?
I don't have, do you have, can you,
Alright,
do you have the scoring sheet from last year that you could send out? Okay,
Alright.
yeah.
alright, so you have
You don't
Mass
have it
Village,
with-
Perry
you don't have it here
Village,
with you.
North
I do
Perry,
not.
and Mentor are the only ones,
Let me take a look at that,
right?
see what
Am I
it looks
missing
like.
anybody?
See if there's anything I can do with it.
I thought there was a bunch that probably.
I mean, maybe I'm, but you got Concord Township, Leroy Township, Madison Township, Painesville Township, Perry Township, so all the townships, East Lake, Fairport, Mentor on the Lake, Painesville, Willoughby, Willoughby Hills, Willowick. So you're missing, Wickliffe. So Wickliffe, Perry Village, North Perry, and Mentor.
Yeah, I mean, so,
So 90%.
so if all of those are losing points, again, last year was not scored correctly, and not everybody that had a levy got dinged. It would not have made a difference for us, so I didn't push the issue afterwards, but, there's gotta be somebody else. Who else we missing?
I mean, I'm not counting Grand River, Timberlake, but those are like Lake Line. I mean, those are, you know,
Right.
I'm not counting those little
So-
ones. I'm counting big players that could be able
City
to
of Mentor,
compete with us.
I think City of Mentor seems to get 2 projects a year.
Of course.
The utilities get dinged also,
So the utility yeah, so,
and I can't remember the reason, because they generate income on
because,
their
yeah,
own?
because they have billing, they bill for their services, so if,
Sewer or water projects.
yeah, so if Lake County Sewer or Lake County Water does a project, they lose the points. If you are doing a project that is to replace a water line and repave a road, if it's a combined project, you are losing the points because
And also.
your water
And also,
generates
if we
revenue.
do a project that we're combining a stormwater project and we're getting any stormwater funding, we also lose.
Yes, that was something
And
that
we're
Tracy
losing-
said.
And we're losing money on that. Stormwater money's our money.
Yeah, so
If
it
we
doesn't,
use it,
so it doesn't make sense, yeah. So on that list, Mike, what other cities are on there, or communities?
Quite a few of them. The only ones that I think Mentor's missing, you got, East Lake, Mentor on the Lake, Painesville City, Willoughby Hills, and Willowick.
Yeah, so you're missing Wickliffe, North Perry, which I'll leave them in the small. So you got Perry,
Madison
you got
Madison
Perry Village, Madison Village, and Wickliffe,
Mentor.
and Mentor. So those 4 are the
Okay.
bigger.
Yeah.
So they're the only ones that aren't losing the points. So maybe it's not that big of an issue if, I don't know. It looked like a big disparity last year because only a few townships lost the points. So,
and no townships got funded.
correct.
A
But
point
remember,
seems
this
like-
happened 6 years ago too. Remember, I mean, 6 or 7 years ago, same thing happened. No townships got funding and, yeah.
Can we take, I know one time if we took an interest-free loan, we got an extra point for that. Willing to do that, we have to. They actually, I swear to God, we still have it on the books here. We've been paying it off for 10 friggin', it's a pain in the butt, and paying $1,200, $2,500 a year. Couldn't just pay, they won't let you pay it, you can't pay it off. You have to pay
Oh,
it.
you can't pay it off early, and it's
No.
interest free.
And it's interest-free. But because they have bonds
they
behind
gotta
it,
satisfy,
they gotta
right.
keep that cash flow coming in to service that bond.
Right.
So, which is no big deal if it's gonna get us $300,000.
Well, yeah. Loan away, baby.
So you're gonna pay it for 150 years?
Yeah, I don't think the loan,
goes?
No, it's like 10 years or something like
Oh,
that,
okay.
15 years.
I think the scoring has changed and the loan isn't really advantageous anymore. you might get extra points for the loan, but then you lose something somewhere else. That's something, once we put it together, the county has offered to review the application with you to see if there's anywhere you can improve your scoring.
See here, local match, you get 10 points if you go 50% or greater.
We always are 50% or greater.
Those are more points, it's 10 points. If you go less than that, it's.
Yeah, we're always 55-ish to 60. We always ask for 300,000 or 299.9, whatever the cutoff is. I think you can ask for 300 now.
If you ask for 300,
You lost a
Right.
point.
yes, but they changed that.
Yes,
Because everybody was doing.
299.9.
So can you ask me?
Right, it's now it's $200,000 and $1 to 300,000.
So we always ask for 300,000.
Right.
So, does a loan still get you a point or no?
Nah, it does not help, no.
So if we go,
Do you get extra points the more you fund?
50%, if you fund anything over 50%, you
It's
don't
the
get
same.
any more points.
No.
So 10 points is the max.
But you get a point if you're at 200,999 instead of 20 or 200,000 even. So 200,999, you get an extra point.
No.
I thought you said 201 to 300.
So if you ask for 300,000, you get a certain number of points. If
so
you go
check
to,
this
He
out.
just said 201 to 300.
yes,
So you get extra points if you go under 201.
yes. If
Right.
you ask for 200,000 instead of 300,000.
So 209,999.
No. 200,000.
He said 201 to 300.
Check this out, if you ask for a 150,000 loan or greater, you get 5 points.
You lose something else somewhere else. I'm telling
Yeah,
you.
You lose it in the amount of funding requested.
Mr. Chairman, we're
Match.
gonna
You
have
You
to,
lose it in the match area.
we're gonna have to start the public meeting here in
Thank
a
you.
moment.
Oh, 2,000.
So
Thank you, Mr.
so
Manning.
that's the
2001.
That's the
Okay.
range.
here for to watch
I was thinking 201,000.
No, so
yeah.
yes, there's the
Speed it
range.
up.
All right, so we will end the work session at this point.
I won't forget, but can you store this till we do